Have you ever wondered if there's a detailed blueprint for humanity's future? I don't mean just a vague hope, but an actual step-by-step plan to completely redesign our world. Well, a pretty fascinating text from late 2025 offers just that, and it all starts with a simple yet really powerful idea.
This ancient piece of wisdom, this is the key. It's the key to understanding a really radical proposal for our future. It suggests that the biggest changes, they aren't forced. Instead, they grow from small, natural beginnings. And that is the core philosophy of a vision called Civilization 3.0. So what exactly is Civilization 3.0? According to the source material, it's a proposed leap for humanity, an ascent into a totally new way of living. And this isn't about, tweaking the current system. No, this is about a complete and total replacement. And when I say complete, I really mean it. The plan is to fundamentally change every single pillar of modern life, how we structure our families, our governments, our money, even our own personal identities. The scale of this vision is just immense.
Okay, so this might sound like some abstract dream, right? But the source lays out a very specific framework to build this new world. It's a plan it calls the 18 Channels to Ascent.
These 18 points, these are the detailed pathways, the concrete steps proposed to guide us into this new era. You can kind of think of them as the operating manual for building Civilization 3.0. So let's explore what they are in three key areas: society, the economy, and our personal lives. First up, the social structure. The vision is to replace the classic nuclear family with these communal second homes. It dissolves nations in favor of a single global citizenship. It calls for unified care for all children and the elderly. And get this, it even suggests we all adopt the same surname, Cow, to really reinforce the goal of creating one truly global family. So how would you manage this global society? Well, the plan is to replace national governments with a coordinating AI alliance that would manage global production. All laws would be replaced by a set of ethical guidelines called the 800 values. A single currency, the F-coin, would replace all others, and all natural resources would be assigned to what the text calls the greatest creator, which is a concept that represents the origin of life and nature itself. And what about the individual in all this? Personal purpose gets a complete redefinition. The goal is no longer wealth or status, but something called life's sublimation, a state of, spiritual and creative fulfillment. Morality is measured simply by your experience of joy and freedom. And the workday? It's cut to just 4 hours, leaving all that other time for creativity and play. Education, in turn, would focus only on natural sciences, arts, and practical skills.
Okay, hearing all that, the big question is, how? I mean, how could a change this massive possibly happen without just unbelievable conflict and chaos? The source is actually very, very clear on this point. The path to Civilization 3.0 is not your typical revolution. The text is clear. It's not achieved through force or struggle. It's achieved through a gentle, natural unfolding, a transformation that happens through awakening and quiet influence, like, as the text says, fine rain soaking into the earth. This quote from the text just captures the philosophy perfectly. The idea isn't to fight the old system, but to build something so new and compelling that the old ways simply become obsolete. The new civilization is meant to displace the old one naturally, without a fight.
So if it's not a revolution, then what's the strategy? How does this whole thing actually get started? Well, the entire 18-channel plan hinges on just 2 core actions. This whole grand vision, it all boils down to 2 practical tasks. First, spreading the core ideas of the movement, what the source calls Chanyuan values, which are basically the principles behind those 800 values we saw earlier. And second, building physical examples of this new life, the second home. The second home is absolutely central to the entire strategy. It's designed to be a living, breathing model of Civilization 3.0, a community of 60 to 100 people, serving 2 purposes. It's a place for believers to actually live this new life, and just as important, it's a demonstration project for the rest of the world to see, to visit, and to experience firsthand. And this isn't just theory. The source gives a real-world update. As of late 2025, building these homes isn't permitted in China, where the movement began. Small-scale communities are operating in Thailand and Canada, but the biggest obstacle is just finding governments willing to grant residency for a full-scale model community. So, faced with such huge challenges, the strategy goes right back to its founding principle that great matters begin from what is subtle. The focus is all on the power of the individual taking a single, simple step. The method for spreading the values is surprisingly simple. It's not about winning complex debates. The advice is to just casually mention the core concepts, to plant these 4 seeds in people's minds: the philosophy of Lifechanyuan, the concept of the second home, the name of the guide, shuifeng, and the idea of the new values. And that's it. And this is the belief that really drives the whole movement. One person talking about these ideas might not seem like much, a single drop of water. But the vision is that millions of these small, individual actions will eventually come together to form a powerful current of change. And that brings us right to the core message for anyone interested in this vision. The advice is direct. Don't get paralyzed by the scale of the goal or all the potential obstacles. Don't worry about step 10 before you've even taken step 1. Just start from the simplest point and trust that the path will appear as you walk it. So, we're left with this final thought, a vision of total societal transformation that rejects force, relying instead on the power of an idea, a living example, and the accumulated effect of countless small actions. If a new world truly begins with just one drop, what does that first step actually look like?